everybody, welcome to Review a Day, episode number 67 for Saturday, October the 18th, 2008. Hello everybody, welcome to Review a Day, the daily video blog where I review a movie 7 days a week. My name is Leland Brungart and thank you very much for joining me. The film I'm going to be reviewing today is W. This is a controversial new film from the controversial director Oliver Stone. This movie stars Josh Brolin, James Cromwell, Elizabeth Banks, Richard Dreyfuss, Ellen Burstyn. Jeffrey Wright is Colin Powell. I'm a huge Jeffrey Wright fan. Lots of great actors in this film. This film, as you probably already know, is about George W. Bush, his rise to power, his time spent in the White House, the people around him, his White House staff. It's all about this. Has a lot to do, it deals a lot with the issues he has with his father, which may or may not be real. That aside, I'm not going to get too much of the controversy and my feelings about President Bush in general. W is an interesting film. It's interesting. I think Josh Brolin gives a pretty fantastic performance as George W. Bush. He really has this ability, which I was afraid that this movie, it was just going to be poking fun of how stupid George W. Bush is, which would have not made a good film. James Brolin gives this film a lot of compassion, a lot of heart that I think he gives to the character. And I was afraid that he was going to play him as a dumb hillbilly. And Josh Brolin has the ability to play a southern boy, kind of down-home kind of person, without making it stupid or like a joke, which is often how George Bush gets played. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't think his performance here is any better than it was in No Country for Old Men. Josh Brolin is a fantastic actor. I don't think this is his best, but he's got Bush down packed. He's got the gestures and the way he talks down really well. The cast overall is really fantastic. I think Richard Dreyfuss does a really fantastic job as Dick Cheney. I think Toby Jones as Karl Rove is really well done stuff. Really well done. But like I said, the film paints a really well-rounded, sympathetic portrait of George Bush. And the film overall is incredibly sympathetic to George Bush and his staff. And I found that very surprising. I wasn't ready for that. And I think this film, I think W, gives you about as much insight into the intellect of George Bush, into the things, how he decided things. I think you get as much insight into the real George Bush as you did in the film American Dreams with Dennis Quaid, Mandy Moore, and Hugh Grant, which was the movie where the president goes on American Idol, basically. And I think that I actually enjoyed that I think I enjoyed American Dreams more because of the satire and it never took itself very seriously. This film feels like the film itself feels like it's so important, like much more important than it really is. I think if you were to take George Bush out of this film, I think you'd have a pretty poor movie. I don't think this movie would hold up without that character, without the controversy surrounding it. Thandie Newton, I don't know how you pronounce her name, who plays Condoleezza Rice, is pretty bad in this movie. And I've actually really liked everything I've seen her in. I think she's a great actress. She's a leading actress. She's beautiful, and I think she plays those roles really well. But she's playing a character in this movie, and it didn't work. It felt like an SNL sketch, and it was really kind of ruining the tone for me. I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not. There's a dream sequence in this film toward the end of the movie where George W. Bush is like in a fight with his father, and it's in the Oval Office. And first of all, it's not that ridiculous of a dream sequence, and it's not well done. It's such a basic portrait of a shitty father-son relationship that I think if it weren't in this film, people would have jumped all over it for being cliche and bad. I never thought I'd say this, but to me, this film feels like Oliver Stone is honestly riding on the coattails of controversy that surround George Bush as a president, as a person. This film shows me that just because you choose a controversial subject or a polarizing idea, that it doesn't make your film inherently interesting or controversial, or it didn't make me think about anything. And that's what I think was most surprising about this film, is that I don't felt that like it had anything important to say. If you're gonna make a film about the White House staff, about George W. Bush and the decisions he's made right now, and you're gonna release it in theaters right before an election, say something. You should have a clear message of what you are saying, which is what I wanted, and I felt incredibly let down by this. Because the film doesn't give me anything new. Nothing new. I left the film exactly this way I went in. I do not... It's such a disappointment, this movie. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Josh Brolin is great. The performances, for the most part, are really very good. But Oliver Stone dropped the ball. I don't think this film says anything that interesting or important. A little bit of a letdown. Rent American Dreams with Hugh Grant and Dennis Quaid, Mandy Moore. Very funny, satirical, and I think that movie gave me as much insight as this one did. If you guys are liking my reviews, make sure and subscribe. If you have any recommendations on any films you'd like to see me review, leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.